Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Esoteric Influences for the 28th day of July 2020. Well, I've started this a couple times. The last time I started it, I welcomed you to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune. So that's going to be the next one I do after I do this one. Yeah, it's a weird Tuesday. I never know what to do with Mars energy. That's generally what Tuesday is associated with is Mars energy, and so you got a lot of catalytic energy today. This sort of shouldering or supporting the new beginnings energy we have for the one energy. The 28 reduces to one, and so we're looking at a 7, which is balance, balancing shadow side of self with spirit. Letting things come to rest, letting things, taking an observer role for the month. A 22 year, which is profound change from a soul standpoint, soul coming in and affecting a lot of change when clearly ego's not getting the job done. So, that's why we say new beginnings are possible today, particularly if you follow your intuition. Profound change is occurring, so express unity and shared purpose with others. Get on board with one another today. Drop resistance on the whole mask wearing thing and just get out there and protect everybody. You just don't know if you're sick, and it's not the same thing as the flu. I think that all the stories we're hearing from people that are, and now the new hashtag is long COVID, those people that have had it for months. It's insane what's happening to them. They just can't seem to get out from under the effects of this. And whether or not, there's some people don't even know if they're still contagious because they can't leave the house. They're so debilitated, they can't leave the house to go find out. So I don't know what we're going to do there. We might end up having to have some home health care type of teams to go around and check in on these folks that are still ill. We need to track all that. We need to know what this looks like going forward for people. Is this just a small group of people that this is affecting this way, or are more being affected? We have to know that. It's going to inform the kind of therapeutics we have going forward. So I really think that it makes sense. Maybe we need to do that. I know it won't happen under this administration, but maybe under the next it will. Of course, it'll be somewhat too late by then in a sense, but we will have missed a lot of time. So hopefully, states will start to do this irrespective of what the federal government is telling them to do. Today, the rune is Hagalaz, the 9th rune of the Elder Futhark. The first of 3 Norn runes in the Elder Futhark. You can see that it kind of looks like structure, doesn't it? Like within a frame, like a framework of sorts. And that's really what this is. It's also known as the Witch rune. It's a water element rune. It represents the goddess Hela. Destruction within established boundaries. Hail. It's also the Norn rune of the past. It's so known as the celestial Eigseg. It's protective. It involves luck. Manifests luck, basically. And it's all about also trance work. But basically, the primary understanding of Hagalaz is destruction within a fixed framework. So, tweaking things. It's like when they say defund the police department. Well, no, that they're not talking about taking all the money away. They're talking about defunding the aspects of it and giving that money to some other program, maybe where you redefine some of the stuff that they're having to deal with and putting it in the hands of something else and just letting them just focus on specific types of policing. That's all they're saying, getting the war toys out of their hands, because that affects their mindset and I'm sure is a contributing factor to what's happening to Black people now and brown people and unfortunately to protesters now. So I think that's all they're talking about. It's talking about restructuring things in a way, and Hagalaz really offers that type of experience. If you think of it in terms of witchcraft, then you're thinking about maybe suggesting something to someone via a spell. Say you have someone that's out of control and you need to bring them back under control. Well, I mean, you can go to the distance and do a binding, or worse yet, a curse if it's really bad. But realistically, all you probably need to do is to do some kind of influence type of spell that then suggests to them, there's other options here. How about focusing on this? and then you respect their free will, and it taps them on the shoulder and brings a little other awareness into their minds, and so maybe influences the decisions that they make into a better direction than one that maybe is punitive or harming others or whatever is going on, right? But sometimes all you need to do is a little bit of a nudge, and there's the and so basically there's where you're working within a fixed framework. You're not altering everything, you're just tweaking a little bit about it, right? So in other words, change your approach today if maybe your approach isn't working, and that's going to become a little more apparent when we get down to the human design section. But in any event, the first of 3 Norn runes, Hagalaz, brings order to chaos by reestablishing the framework necessary for change. Again, emphasis on reestablishing, not throwing the baby out with the bathwater necessarily. I mean, if it has to be, it has to be, but you try to, go in with it. In other words, a scalpel versus a sledgehammer. Allow that which no longer serves to end while embracing that which heals and protects. So that's the primary advice from Hagalaz today from this witch. So anyhow, the moon is still in Scorpio. Emotions could still be in flux today, which can impact close relationships with others, especially if jealousy or suspicion is a factor, which can be with Scorpio. They get a little bit of tunnel vision that way sometimes, can't let go of it. And so a quincunx between the moon and Venus suggests boundaries may be poor, and a focus on your own needs may be the better option today. Be generous with others, but don't forget to take time for yourself as well. And that's the moon sextile Jupiter. That's that influence today. And realize again that Jupiter is in retrograde among 6. There 7 planets are in retrograde right now. And so it's having an effect on our inner awareness and our inner perceptions. And so allow that transformation to happen, and kind of get out of the tunnel vision if you're in it. So anyhow, now on to the human design section. Channel of awareness is still active, so higher self is still influencing our choices should we decide to pay attention and kind of set the ego over there and let higher self decide things today. But although you may understand the greater picture, either intuitively or from prior experience, respect input from others so that a consensus can be achieved. Avoid a self-righteous attitude that could breed conflict with others today. However, though, not so fast. If an opportunity does present itself, urge a practical approach around limitations. Sometimes, you get too carried away, right? In what you're thinking is going on and what you think the solution ought to be. And so, or even if everybody agrees on what's going on, maybe some people want these grandiose solutions that sometimes cause more problems than they fix. And so, even though intuition is there and all of that, sort of couple that with a practical approach and past experience and all of that. If it can all be, in other words, just try to get a little more perspective when you're making a decision today about how you proceed on. So, but there again, don't compromise your safety. I know that we've had some stores that have come out and said, oh yeah, we're going to require masks, and then they don't. So I don't know. Look, if we don't all do it, this is going to continue and it's going to be out of control. And then when it hits in September, it's just going to be worse. Because that's when it happens. We start to see these things arise again when we send the kids back to school, which is nuts to do. The schools are no more ready to have that happen. You've got teachers that are freaking out right now, and I don't blame them. They love their kids, they love teaching, but they don't want to die. And you go back there, and what happens? Kids bring stuff home. To think that kids can't carry this? Yes, they can. To think they can't transmit it? Yes, they can, and they do. So this magical thinking that the Secretary of Education is doing is just that. And you have to ask yourself, well, then what does this serve? What bigger picture does this serve to risk our children this way? And in turn, everyone else they come in contact with. So, yeah, this is dumb. This is dumb. And this could have been handled in such a different way. But we have people in the federal government that are so self-dealing that that's what informs the decisions that they have. What's in it for me kind of thing. And we just can't have that. We just can't have it. So, In any event, I guess that's it. I'm going to go ahead and actually do the somewhat daily tarot and rune reading that I said I was doing in the second attempt at this. And I don't know. It's just going to be an interesting day, isn't it? Just stay safe, everybody, and wear a mask if you go out. And be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.